Ricky would have never even imagined auditioning for a show before. But when you're in love, you do stupid things and you make impulsive decisions. And so without even thinking, he goes, I just got auditioned for the show because it's the only way I'm going to get her back. And when he gets cast as Troy, he's a little taken off guard. He's like, oh, shoot, it worked. He's like, what? Like, now I got to do this thing? But then slowly but surely, he gets bit by that bug and he can't get enough of it, and he loves every second of it. One of my favorite parts about this series is that the creators have so much trust in us that whenever possible, we actually record the music live when we're filming it. And one of the most amazing experiences for me was when we shot I Think I Kinda You Know, they did a couple safety takes where I sang along to a track in my ear, and then they said, okay, take out the ear thing, do it. Just do it, you and the guitar, go for it. And they actually ended up using the live takes in the cut of the first episode. So what you see is actually me singing live on stage in front of the entire cast. Pretty surreal. One of the coolest parts about this project is that the creators and producers from the first three films are still on board with this one. And the idea that they would have the faith in all of us as a cast, and the same people who picked Zac Efron, Vanessa Hudgens, Ashley Tisdale, all those people would entrust us to continue the legacy and start this whole new journey is crazy surreal. A couple weeks ago, the creator came around and talked to me and Olivia, my co-star, and they said, we're really interested in having you submit a song for episode 9. Would you be interested in giving it a shot? And of course, we were like, yes. So that, literally the second he walked away, we started writing. We came up with this idea. We worked on it for a couple weeks, and then we put together a demo, and we submitted it, and we actually got the slot of episode 9. And so me and Olivia wrote an original song for the show, and it's going to be featured, and it's legit and everything. I mean, our song's going to be in a TV show, so that's pretty crazy if you ask me.
High School Musical, the musical, the series, is about a group of kids who are putting on a production of High School Musical at East High, which is actually the school that High School Musical was originally shot at. And throughout the production, there's drama and rivalries and friendships and a lot of interesting, good stuff. Throughout this whole series, Nini really goes through a character arc. She starts off as kind of insecure and looking to other people for validation, but she really comes out of her shell and starts believing in herself more, which I think is really important for especially young girls to see on screen. So it's a completely new plot, completely new characters, but we do have some of the songs from the original High School Musical movies, but we also do have some of our own original songs, which is really fun to get to see the dynamic between those two. Music is a big part of this show. I personally believe that music is like the truest window to the soul. It is so communicative and effective. And so I think what better way to affect an audience than to write a beautiful song and have the characters sing it. So we've gotten lucky to have some great songwriters on this show and pull out some of my favorite songs. I am so excited to be part of the launch of Disney Plus. I think it's incredible. I think it's going to be really exciting for viewers like me even. I mean, it's crazy that I get to be on it, but also just as a consumer, it's going to be awesome to see all of my favorite Disney shows and original content all in one place.
EJ is a very, very good guy at heart. He kind of gets himself in trouble at times, doing things that are the right reasons, but just the wrong things to do in that situation. He kind of will do whatever it takes to get things that he wants. I think the audience for this series genuinely is everybody. I think there is something for your little 3-year-old sister who doesn't understand a thing, and I think there's something for your 80-year-old grandma that is going to sit and watch it and love it. I think the range of people who are going to watch the show and who are going to like it is huge because there is a lot of things with characters where people can relate. And even not only like young audiences, but I feel like parents are going to watch it and be like, wow, I remember going through high school and dealing with all of this stuff and kind of seeing just how these kids are trying to find themselves and deal with the drama in the school. And I think they're going to be able to identify with that everywhere. I'm extremely honored to be a part of this franchise of High School Musical, and it's something that growing up, I remember watching the movies and being a fan of the movies, and now I just feel extremely lucky and blessed to be able to kind of start the new chapter of the franchise and do it especially with this amazing cast we have. Everybody goes through the phase of like trying to figure themselves out, and I think with the show particularly, I think theater is such a great community for that, and there's no judging in the theater class or in theater in general. It's just kind of one big family, and it's like, you know, there's no like, oh, you're a nerd, you're in theater, oh, you're a jock, you're in theater. Like, there are no nerds, there are no jocks, everybody's the same, everybody's family, everybody's fun.
The series is very different from the original movies. There are original songs which are going to blow people's minds. I'm already fangirling over all of the songs, but also the characters are so different as well. And I think that's a very important part of our show is that there's so much diversity and everybody will be able to feel represented and relatable to each character. When I read scripts, I don't usually laugh out loud, but when I read these scripts, I am full on bawling, I'm crying, I'm laughing. I feel everything the characters are feeling because of how relatable they are. So every character on this show is so different, whether it's physically or through their personalities. Everyone will be able to really see themselves through one of the characters or more. And that is something I love so much about the show, and I can't wait for people to see. I think diversity is so important on screen because we are able to give so many people out there the feeling of belonging. I think that is such an important feeling in life, to feel as though you are meant to be here for a reason and you are special. And so every character on this show is so different, whether it's physically or through their personalities. Everyone will be able to really see themselves through one of the characters or more. And that is something I love so much about the show, and I can't wait for people to see. I think everybody should watch the series. I mean, that's so broad, but I think original High School Musical fans are going to love it. People who have never seen High School Musical are going to love it. There's just going to be a whole new fan base for it, and hopefully that there is just, it impacts the community just as much as the original does. I learned so much about, I guess, who I wanted to be from watching Disney Channel. And so being able to, I guess, be that new representation and those role models for this new generation is a very surreal thought to me. And I just really hope that we can inspire kids to just live out their lives in any way that they want. That's one of the amazing things about these characters, is that they go for it. And some of them are learning that throughout the series. Some of them already have that quality. But I think that's something that a lot of people can take away, no matter your age, is that you can do whatever you want to do if you believe in yourself.
Carlos is the student choreographer of the production. He's very, almost like too serious at times, and I kind of just love that he just says whatever, like the first thing that comes to his head, even if it's like the wrong thing to say in that situation. So that's always fun to play. But he's very passionate. He's very has such a great love for Broadway and musical theater, and he's just so in his element at doing this show. There are very few shows growing up that I watched that I found like representation in, where I was like, oh my God, that's me, that's me. And I love that in this show, just him being himself is just done in a completely real and organic way. And it's just done just so beautifully. I think what makes our show so cool and unique is that I can really see someone in like elementary school all the way up until like adulthood that can like sit down and watch the series and find things to relate to and find things to like obsess over. So I think that's what makes the show so cool. Disney plays like such a huge role in my childhood, and I think the music especially. So to be here on a musical series for Disney, for something that's so fresh and new, but also so familiar, it's like, how is this happening?
High School Musical, the musical, the series is about high schoolers here in Utah putting on High School Musical where High School Musical was originally filmed. And I know that's a tongue twister, but it's really about exploring yourself, finding yourself, and going through, you know, daily high school troubles that normal teenagers go through. So it's like real relatable. It's hilarious in my opinion. And the songs are excellent. I mean, all of them are bops to me. So yeah. My character Courtney is really into fashion, really into makeup, as you see. She's really strong in expressing herself. She really loves to express her opinions. She loves fighting for equality, fighting for women, fighting for people of color. She's really into just the equality of all while also looking cute. I feel like theater is important to our world and it is important to our community, and it lets you know that you always have a space to go, no matter who you are, no matter what you look like, no matter what you act like, no matter what you do. Theater will always accept you, and that people in theater will always accept you. And I feel like this show really expresses that, and I'm really grateful to be a part of something that really shows that, especially because I personally experienced theater saving me.
Big Red is Ricky's best friend. He's been best friends with Ricky for life. And he has also been friends with Nini, and he's experienced Ricky and Nini's relationship through all of its stages. So when Ricky and Nini break up in the first episode, he's a little bit shaken by that, and he doesn't really know where he fits in. And then he starts to find his place in the musical and being part of the musical. And through that, he finds a whole new family. In our series, we see the musical numbers from High School Musical as they are performed in rehearsals and in the performance. So we don't see much of the original movies. Instead, we see the locations, we see East High, we see the cafeteria, we see the gym, we see the iconic moments of High School Musical, but they are modern and they are part of a new story. I think this series is perfect for anyone that grew up with High School Musical, anyone that saw the original movies and loves this franchise and this series. I also think this series is perfect for anyone who's in high school who wants to experience being in a High School Musical, or maybe experience that when they were in high school, because this series is really about theater kids, and it's about experiencing a theater program in your high school, and I think everyone can relate to that. I think one of the most incredible things about this series is that it really does portray high school students in a totally new and modern way. I think a lot of times in television shows and movies about high school, we see a lot of people being put into boxes and archetypes that people might not necessarily relate to. But in this show, everyone really does get to be exactly who they are and exactly who they want to be. And I think that's something that especially kids in high school right now can completely relate to. I hope that when teenagers and young adults see this show, they realize that it's incredibly important to be yourself, and it's always important to be true to yourself and find your creative outlet and really just do what you enjoy and do it for you and for nobody else, because I think that's what the series is really trying to say.
The majority of our music is pre-recorded in a studio before we shoot the song, but some of our songs have been recorded live on set, so that has been super exciting. When we did Wondering, we got to do a few takes that were live, and that was really, really special. High School Musical is a huge part of my life and was always a huge part of my life, and it's still a huge part of people's lives. So the fact that I am in a show that's carrying this legacy and this title is surreal for me. The show is kind of gonna break grounds a little bit for some of the new generation of theater kids that are growing up, which I'm super excited about because High School Musical broke grounds for my generation of theater kids. So now our show hopefully will do the same thing, and I'm so excited about that, for kids to grow up with us to look up to. One of my favorite things about coming to work every day is the fact that I just get to hang out with my best friends. And all of us thought that, you know, making friends and getting along with each other would be the biggest obstacle, but it's actually been the easiest thing so far. And yeah, it's great. I'm so lucky to work with my best friends every day.
High School Musical, the series, is about the actual East High in Salt Lake City and the students who are there now. And mainly, it's about their new drama teacher, Miss Jen. Miss Jen thinks the theater saves lives because it saved hers. She knows what it's like to feel like an outsider and like you don't have a place where you belong. And she has felt the embrace of theater and the people involved in it. And she wants to share that with this generation. The thing about High School Musical, I think, especially our series, is that you can see yourself in everyone, sort of. I mean, everybody has part of you in them. And that's what I found when I grew up with it. And now these kids today, especially these characters, they're so real, they're so rich. Nobody is one thing. So I think that everybody can relate to almost all of them. When I was on Broadway in Wicked, playing Glinda, they were working on turning High School Musical, the movie, into High School Musical, the stage version. And so they got a bunch of us Broadway kids to help workshop it with them. So I actually got to get in there and play Sharpay, and it was really fun. I've been in a few things on Broadway. I was in Wicked and Something Rotten and Recently Beautiful and Gypsy, actually with Tim Federle when we were a little bit younger, and other things. And I would say the thing that was true for all of those shows that I did and what's true for this is that you get to know everybody and you become a family. And you know, it's just, it gets stronger as time goes on, and I can't wait to see what happens with this show.
Mr. Mazzara is the STEM teacher for East High. He has a lot of passion for the sciences, the technologies, the engineering, and the math. And he believes that is the future. And he's not necessarily the most excited about musical theater or the arts. I think the fans are going to enjoy the new covers we have of the original songs. These covers are lit. They're going to be a lot of fun. I think they're going to enjoy all the inside jokes. So if you're a huge fan of the original High School Musical, we have plenty of inside jokes. You can tell the people who are writing the show and creating the show have so much love in their hearts for the original High School Musical.
I love High School Musical, but I sort of thought the way to look back at it was to look forward and say, what if a group of students was putting on High School Musical? It's a very simple pitch. And I was influenced by movies like Waiting for Guffman, TV shows like The Office, these things that had a sort of docu-style approach that allows the audience to sort of see what's really happening with this real group of kids. But I also wanted to bring sort of like real Broadway experience to it so that it's this 10-episode countdown to opening night. I think what I try to bring to this is the idea that you can go to school from like 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. and feel like you're totally quiet and under the radar. And then for a certain group of kids, whether they're theater kids, sports kids, whoever you are, there's that time where the bell rings and you get to go be with your tribe. And that's the thing that I want this series to capture, which is the magic of when you discover your tribe. Because I think what High School Musical, the series is really all about is that everyone doesn't have to understand you, but you do have to find people who do. And sometimes all it takes is one, whether it's a teacher, a co-star, someone who says, I see you and I get you. It was really important to me that this show looked the way high school actually looks. And so in our cast of characters, we've got, of course, people of color, and we have diverse families. And then things like Sharpay, how do you reinvent Sharpay? You can't do better than Ashley Tisdale. So we have a character who plays the role of Seb, and he gets cast in the role of Sharpay because he's the best person for it, and Miss Jen is a visionary who thinks that he would knock it out of the park, and he does. There's so few times in a writer's career where you get to actually create a show. And then on top of that, to actually be launching a TV network is a thrill. And so Disney Plus is all about being first out of the gate with these brand new shows. And you know, it's an honor, it's nerve-wracking, and it's everything that it feels like when you're opening a Broadway show. It's like opening night, except we're opening a TV network. It's pretty exciting.
The original film was a wonderful surprise in that after a few weeks of working on it, all of a sudden we started getting feedback from Disney that they thought we had something magical. Of course, at the time, we didn't know that it was going to touch the zeitgeist of a whole generation and become this massive hit. I'd like to say I saw it coming, but I didn't see it coming until we were working. One of our major themes, which was in the first 3 movies, was the idea of we are, all in this together, right? And I think that that theme carries over in that we have a diverse group of people, a diverse group of teens that have different ambitions and they could have completely different goals in mind, but they come together over the art of making a musical. And I think we're doing that again, is showing that diversity can actually come together and work in a very unified way. I think that this series is actually an evolution of High School Musical 1, 2, and 3. And that we, instead of redoing High School 1, 2, and 3, we are actually evolving it with a new generation of kids. So that's why the stories have changed, and how we approached storytelling is a lot more contemporary to this day. Well, this is going to be one of the flagships to launch Disney Plus, And I think that we have some magic in what we're doing. And I think we're going to achieve not only finding a new audience, but also touching the old audience with the magic that the first High School Musical had.